What's so funny?
No, nothing. I farted on the microphone. Yeah, on the microphone.
Well, it didn't pick up there, buddy. And
Well,
now
it lit
you're
up.
and now you're fucking talking into your smelly asshole. Congratulations, you won.
Fuck. I didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah, I think you should have thought that far ahead there, Mitch. That's why you're Mitch, man. That's why you're you. I'm gonna fart on the microphone. I'm gonna totally get him, Mitch. I can't smell it. I'm not in Australia.
I see. I just see the goal, and I don't think beyond the goal.
Yeah, you don't think beyond the
Uh,
goal.
I think that's how people end up in prison sometimes, though. So got to be careful.
It's like robbing a bank without the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you came out of the bank with money and you're like, oh fuck, I forgot. I walked here. God damn
No,
it. Why did
yeah. I've got the money. I thought it just ended when you get the
Oh.
money. Oh, he won. Let him go.
By the way, fucking Mitch says he's gonna be down for Sunday. He's gonna be fully back on Sunday,
Yep.
ready to go. And I was like, bet we're gonna record. And he's like, yeah. And then he pitches me the time Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'm like, awesome. And I was like, hey, maybe you want to like live stream afterwards. This locale stuff's kind of going down. He's like, oh, I can't. I'm only on my phone. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm only on mobile. I'm like, what do you mean you're only on mobile? He's like, yeah, I can only record on mobile. I was like, then why are you back? Why did you say you were back? You retard? Why'd you say you were back?
I thought I was going to be able to go home and use my streaming stuff, but I've been called to babysitter duty, so I'm neglecting children right now to fulfill my requirements for you.
Is this going to be a situation?
Once again,
where...
I'm not thinking beyond the goal. I'm just thinking of the goal of getting to the recording. I'm not thinking of the consequences beyond that.
You realize you could have just said Monday, and I would have been like, all right, bet. Like you were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is this going to be one of the episodes where like we're talking, all of a sudden I'm going to hear Mitch, I took a shit. Can you help me flush it? It's all over the place. I don't know what to do.
Oh God.
Mitch,
Oh no.
Uncle Mitch.
No. No, they're self-sufficient. It's fine. I'm not actually a child neglector.
All right. Before we start with the MamaMax stuff, I wanted to get your opinion. Can you get message? Can you see messages and stuff?
Yes, it's not a Nokia.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna bag this episode, Mitch.
What? No.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bag this one, man.
No.
I know it's not. There's not. I'm just talking, and it's just like it's not really. It's not. I'm not really feeling it.
Now recording.
All right. So a little transparency here. Me and Mitch were doing an episode on Now Recording in which we were covering the MamaMax stuff that had happened recently, and I just didn't have it in me because it was just like I've been covering this for so long, and it was just this situation where it was like I couldn't find anything else to say about it, and right. Mitch obviously didn't have anything to say, so I just simply was just like, fuck. All right, well. So then I thought, like, why not Magnetar? You've been kind of like a part of the story for a while now, and you've gone on streams and stuff, but you haven't really had a chance to do like any sort of in-depth interview. So I figured I'd bring you on, man. So what's up?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. I've just been orbiting, I guess is the term as you guys say it.
Yeah.
Maybe annoying people with how much I've been kind of butting into some of the comment sections, but yeah, I've been around, but
are you enjoying commentary?
It's a world I'm not used to, and I am understanding the dopamine hit, I think, that comes with being in this community and kind of being involved in some of the things, and not just like because I'm personally involved, but just like the vibe of having a larger community around like talking about shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been also a nice distraction from like real world shit in a way, not to like belittle anything that's being talked about or anything like that, but like my everyday life, I guess. It's been a nice change of pace.
Yeah. It's like when you popped up like a year ago, I guess, like I didn't realize you'd kind of stick around. Have you been watching since then, or did you like as soon as Max got talked about again, you kind of popped in, or have you?
I've been off and on.
Off and on.
Every now and then in Tommy, but more so like Chud. I was in a couple of in hymns for a while, but like everyone else, like lyrics and Queeman and all that, I'd never heard of until the new Max stuff. But
Right.
I've been around, and
Yeah.
of course, we've like not you and me necessarily, but I followed and had other people follow me on Twitter, so I've been kind of connected a little bit in that way.
Yeah. So how far does it go back with you and Max? Like when did you guys ever meet?
So I know we've had to have interacted sometime in high school. So sometime between 2010 and 2014, which is where we went to, when we were in high school. And I know he was friends with people I was friends with in some places, but I don't think he and I ever like were part of any group that hung out together, or like we didn't have any classes together or anything like that. So I may have spoken to him a few sentences over those 4 years, but I really didn't know much about him until after high school, and then we sort of had our interactions.
Yeah.
Mostly because of his connection with Haley.
Yeah. Were you guys in the same grade?
Yeah, same grade
Yeah.
as far as I know.
And,
I don't think we went to any schools prior to high school.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I think he was in like the other junior high, and we both ended up in the same high school.
Yeah. So not one class together or anything like.
No, not as far as I remember. I was mostly. I'm not trying to like talk big about myself, but I was mostly in like the AP and like advanced.
Oh yeah, Mr. Smart Guy, huh? Of course.
Yeah.
Well, you are Indian, so no, I'm kidding. No. Like, did you have any sort of like how do I put this? Did you have any sort of impression of Max in high school?
Not really. I mean, he's just looked like. I mean, if I'm just basing on a book by its cover, he's just a goofy looking fucking white boy.
Yeah.
I know people said he was like edgy and kind of just like weird, but people said I was weird, I'm sure. So like that didn't really hold any weight to me necessarily.
Yeah. When was the actual first interaction you remember that you had with Max Like what interaction was there that you remember? What would be like your first interaction with him?
Like I said, I'm sure there had to have been something in high school, but I can't remember that at all. So I guess the one that I could remember would be like seeing him talking to Haley at the dorms one time, because Haley and I were hanging out a lot even before we were dating. So like I know he came over one time into like the back area of the dorm she was staying in, and I walked down with her, and we just kind of like talked and just chilled for an hour or something like that. Right. And eventually I did leave, and like they just like talked on their own. So
okay,
but even then, like we didn't really talk a whole lot. It was more just like,
so it was like a friend of a friend thing, and Haley was the friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What was Haley's like explanation of Max? Like was he being weird at that point, or was it just like normal?
She had told me like he was a little weird and that she thought he liked her, but like also as I'm not trying to like speculate here, but I'm like, a lot of girls don't also realize when a guy has feelings for her, I would say. And I think there was like a lot of people that like
it was obvious.
For her. Yeah, I was like, okay, this guy likes her.
Yeah.
It was obvious to me. And I think she like acknowledged it, but she was like, oh no, but he knows that I have a boyfriend or whatever, because she was with Dustin at the time.
Right.
And she said that name publicly, so I think I'm okay saying his name.
Yeah, if that's publicly on the video, I think you're all right. It's also just a first name. You're good.
Yeah. So, I mean, my first impression was just like, oh, okay, he's just someone from high school. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, he's a little weird, but I didn't really know much about him.
Yeah. Okay. When did things start to, from your perspective, when did things start to get kind of weird?
So this would have been, I think, after Haley and I started dating. So this would have been into 2015 now, like the first, like January, like the first quarter, I guess. What the fuck would that be? Winter of 2015?
2015.
Whatever the fuck. Yeah, after the new year of 2015. There we go.
Okay, gotcha.
When she had called me and was just like, hey, like Max showed up to my work. Actually, no, I think before that he showed up to the dorms, and like she was like, oh, I'm just gonna go down and talk to him. I don't know why he's here. Like I didn't now he found like my exact dorm or what have you. Oh no, that was the same one. I'm sorry. Let me make a correction there. So that first time I did talk to him at the dorms, the bottom floor, was that time that he found her dorms, and he just like showed up, and that's why I walked down with her, because I was like, okay, this is a little weird. So I stayed there for a while, and then I did leave after that. I was like, okay, things seem okay.
Right.
And I think I had something else going on. It was pretty late at night too.
So he randomly showed up at the dorms without calling or something, and then you went down with
So
her,
that was that issue.
and everything seemed okay after that. And then were you
Yeah,
and Haley?
again, like,
You and
okay, that's
Haley were just
weird.
friends at that
seemed-
time, right?
Sorry?
You and Haley were just friends at that time, right?
Yeah, we were just friends at that
Okay.
time. So then
Yeah.
the next time when like I was really like, okay, this guy's being weird, was again after we started dating. So this would have been after January of 2015.
2015. Yeah.
Was when he showed up at her work at
Mhm.
Cowboy Chicken, and she I think texted me and was just like, hey, Max is just like standing outside or sitting outside in his car, just like because like the whole front is just like all glass windows, so she like could see him.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna head over
And
there.
this is something he denies doing, right? I think from his, I'm trying to remember from his video.
Yeah, he denies doing it. So then it might have been December, dude. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've talked about these dates. So yeah,
No. When I say
it was
I'm
winter because
just giving context.
Yeah, his claim was he was on winter break from training. It wasn't basic training, it's whatever the other one is, advanced whatever training, I think.
Yeah.
So he had like the 2 or 3 weeks off, and he's saying he didn't come to Denton because he was with his family the whole time.
Right.
But we're saying, obviously, our story is that it was during that time when he did come to Denton and showed up at our work. So yeah, it would have been either December or January.
Okay, so that's the first weird. Is there any other situations before the big one that happened that was kind of weird?
Between he and I, no. It was just, that experience in the dorm, like stairway, back entrance, and then that experience at Cowboy Chicken. And then I think from there, I don't think there was any texts to me before the Cowboy Chicken thing, as far as I recall, but definitely after it, there was text to me and her, like consistently.
So he finds out that you two are dating while he's in the military, right? Like while he's in training?
I would assume so. I'm not sure when exactly he would have, when he
Well,
found
okay.
out.
So my idea, so the way I kind of saw it, and maybe I'm wrong here, is that he finds out in the military that's what causes him to freak out and send that stuff to you. Now, is it something that maybe dwelled or something that he knew beforehand, or did it just kind of like climax
he definitely
there?
knew that we were like talking, because like Haley and I didn't like make it official until like fucking like New Year's of 2015, like January 1st. You know, it's symbolic and shit. But we were definitely like talking and like kind of like a thing before that. Like everyone kind of knew, but like we hadn't made it official.
Yeah. All right. So walk me through that. So you're asleep, and this is after January 2015. You're asleep. You wake up to a text. Is that what happened?
Yeah, we're talking about the cutting incident.
Yeah, the incident.
So
Yeah.
I don't think I was asleep. I think we were awake because we were just like sitting in the dorm room, laying down. But it was like sometime between like 2 and 5 in the morning. Like we were just up super fucking late.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we were bad students and we didn't go to class in the morning.
Right.
So yeah, it was super late. I got the text. It's just said, like, thanks, Anthony, and like the notification, of like the Facebook thing. And clicked on it, and it opens up to my Facebook page because you can like post on people's Facebook pages or whatever the fuck. And it just said, thanks, Anthony. Thanks, comma, Anthony. And then it was just like a 30-second video or something like that, just like showing his like wrists or like his forearm, I guess, with like cuts in it and like blood and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he actually like cut himself in the video or if it was like just the cuts in the video.
Yeah.
But either way, like it was obvious that it was like he was cutting himself and then like blaming me in a way. And then after that, there was like the text like, take care of her, Anthony. You don't know what you have. Like shit like that.
Yeah. So, and he adds you on your face. Like he does this publicly, right? It's not just.
Because like I think people were texting Haley as well. At least one friend had texted Haley and was like, "Hey, what the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Now, because Haley had shared with other friends, like kind of at this point how Max had been a little weird, like people we had gone to high school with.
Right. Now, before all that, was there any interaction between you two, like in messages where, let's say, like there's been, like, say there's a situation where you're the girl you like starts dating a guy and there's been situations where the dude does the worst thing he can do and like messages the guy and be like, hey man, she's all yours, good luck, treat her right. Was there anything like that he would do or anything of that nature, or did he just keep quiet when it came to you?
No, there was definitely text exchanged before that. That was sort of like the pinnacle incident. And I think Max even showed the text that I sent there where I was like, okay, what the fuck, bro? You know, I'm calling. I think in there, obviously, I was coming off a little like more aggressive. I was just like, bro, you're done. Like, what the fuck is this? Stop this.
Yeah.
I'm calling the cops. And then that's when we called, I called the non-emergency line and just said like, hey, we need to do a wellness check. And of course, I don't have control of who they send. Max says they sent the cops. So that's that.
Right.
But yeah, so like, it was just those kind of things like, constantly texting Haley, like trying to get her attention, and every now and then texting me like, "Hey, why isn't Haley responding? You know, hey, are you with
Ooh.
Haley?"
Yeah. Ugh, that's not
That kind of
good.
shit.
That's yeah. I've been there before. Like I've never cut myself or something, but I've been there. Like, oh, this girl I like is might be dating this dude. Maybe she's
Yeah,
with the
I
guy.
mean,
You
like
know, we've all been
in a
there.
man to man thing, like I get it, that
Yeah.
fucking sucks. Friend zoning
Yeah.
sucks and all that, but it doesn't, you know, you don't
Yeah. I
harass
think.
them.
Yeah. I think Max has this. This is why I think he's pretty much mentally ill. Is that you don't jump to that sort of stratosphere when it comes to something like this, and it kind of showed, at least in that moment, that he couldn't handle his emotions. Now you could argue that, like, well, he was in the military, he was doing training, he couldn't take it, you know, and he caved in and flipped out. And if that was just the only thing, I think that if that was the only thing he did, right, I think that, aside from everything else, if that was the only thing he did, that could be forgiven if there's nothing else that happened, right?
Sure.
Do you think?
I mean, so he sent that apology to me
Yeah.
a few years later, and like, and I'll say the same thing that I told him then. Like, look, that beyond the cutting incident, you know, after that there was still like calls and texts and
Right.
from different numbers because we'd block his numbers and like messages to people we knew on Facebook, like trying to get in touch with us and stuff like that. Um, with all of that, I told him, I was like, look, I get what you're saying. People have horrible mental health issues, stuff like that. I fucking get it. But what you did to us was really shitty. And like, I acknowledge your, I guess, explanation for it, but I'm not at a point to forgive you at this point. Like, I didn't want to
Right.
like, he was essentially like wanting to bury the hatchet and like have me follow his channel and like, I guess like let
That's
bygones
weird.
be bygones. But it was a little more serious to me at that
Yeah.
time. I mean, it's still serious, but like at that time, of course, I was not at all ready to apologize to him. So I told
Yeah.
him that.
That's weird though. Like, hey, I know I sent a picture of you, you know, mutilating myself, but would you mind subscribing to my YouTube channel? Like on like what
Yeah,
the
I don't know if it was him like, oh, I'm turning a new leaf. Like, let's just kind of like, I'm going to close all these different chapters and kind of feel like things are good with all of my previous run-ins with anybody. If it was that, or if it was like, oh, if I get him to apologize, maybe this won't ever be an issue in the future. Like what did happen, like Haley coming out or talking or me telling that story. So I don't know. I don't know what his thought process was, but it was weird because it was,
Yeah.
again, at that point it had been a few months, if not a year, of like no contact with him. Like he hadn't, because I think he had started dating Lucy, so he sort of like backed off on that. Though we did still see him one time at a Target, which is in the police report, but like there hadn't been any like texts or anything like that until that apology letter.
Right. When did you realize he was actually growing as a YouTuber, or was a YouTuber? Was it when he messaged you and told you about it, or did you know beforehand? Like, wait, this guy's kind of gaining an audience here.
I don't I don't remember if I knew before he messaged me, but I know when he messaged me, I looked at his channel, and I think at that time it was still largely like the Life Sucks
Yeah.
series. And the point where like kept tabs on him a little bit was whenever we realized that he had mentioned Haley in one of the videos.
Right.
And I think we showed that, like he has that clip. I think there was like 2 or 3 videos where like he has like her name flash on the screen or whatever the hell. And then there was that one where he like did say like, oh, I cut myself. She called the
Yeah.
cops on me, blah, blah, blah.
And I loved her, or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
So at
Yeah.
that point I did, like I tried to keep Haley out of it because I know it was like, triggering for her. So like every couple of months I'd be on there. I'd be like, okay, is there anything about her or anything about us? Like, cause this guy's kind of weird. So at that point, no, I didn't know he was big or getting bigger. I don't remember the size of his channel at
Yeah.
that time, but I wasn't thinking like, oh, this is scary because he's a popular person. I was just like, why is
Yeah.
this guy making videos
Right.
mentioning her name, kind of thing.
So MamaMax, and I'm going to jump forward here. So if there's any context in between that, let me know. But MamaMax claims that you guys all got together beforehand, like for a while, and were cyber stalking him and threatening him and all this other stuff. Do you know any sort of, what's your perspective on that? Because he knew about you guys. He knew at the very least that there was some conversations going on about his previous relationships. What was your
So
perspective during that?
it's a couple of different things here. So like I know he made a community post saying about like, oh, people are trying to take me down and like one of my exes or something like that. Should I make a video about it? And that was way before I was even involved.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's talking about there. Um, and I don't think Lucy or anybody else knew who he was talking about at that time. You can find that community post. I think it's still up. I don't remember the date on that.
Right.
But I didn't get involved, and by extension, Haley, until maybe like February or March of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And how that came about is Lucy messaging me on Twitter. And I guess let me jump back a little bit and explain that connection.
Right.
So I had knew he was dating Lucy just because, like, again, after those videos, I kind of kept tabs on him a little bit. So I knew that there was like a relationship there. And I had saw at one point when she posted, or I think I saw, like, I wasn't even following her or Max, but I think it just like came up on like maybe my For You page or whatever the hell Twitter calls it, where I just saw people kind of like trashing her or her saying something about Max or something like that. And I just messaged her. I was like, hey, hope everything's okay. You know, I've had my issues with Max. I hope you didn't experience anything. And I think she just said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm, you know, like things are, I'm, you know, like I'm doing okay. I'm in Australia. Things are fine. You know, there's nothing, I'm not in any like danger or anything like that at that point. And I was like, okay, cool. And then like we didn't talk for like, I don't know, a few years or whatever. I don't remember exactly when their relationship ended.
Mm-hmm.
But then in early 2022, she'd messaged me and she's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. My name's Lucy. I'm Max's ex. I know you said you've had a run-in with him before, and Max told me a lot about you and Haley, and I just want to tell you some things that happened with me, and I want to hear about like what you guys went through. And so that's how that connection happened. So then Lucy and I talked for a little while, and then I got her in touch with Haley, and then you know, around that time, I think Paulina or Olivia, whichever one of them was doing their fucking TikToks or whatever the hell.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just kind of like reached out to them and was like, hey, we had experiences with that. And then that's just kind of like how that happened, kind of like organically. Because we're like, it was like more of like a support group than like anything. We like, there was no intention of making a video or anything until maybe like, oh God, May, I think of 2022. Cause I was like, wow, this is a lot of really shitty shit. And the initial thing that happened was I think I saw Badwick make a video about Max or like addressing some of the allegations from Olivia or Paulina at the time.
Really? Badwick started this?
Yeah, I don't remember which
That's
video it was,
funny.
but I saw that. So like I messaged Badwick on Twitter and I was like, hey, I saw you made a video about this guy. You know, I've known the guy since like
Well, let me
2010.
pause here. Let me pause for a second.
Sure.
Paulina, was she involved with you guys yet? Or did she just go out on her own to put her statement?
So so Olivia and Paulina made statements before any of us ever talked to them.
Okay. Okay.
But then we connected, and then the idea was like, okay, we're just gonna like put all of the stories into one video so that everyone has like a one-stop shop, so to speak.
Right.
So they had already done that. I don't think Lucy said much except for like some Twitter posts. I don't think she had made a video or any like fucking TikToks or anything like that. And of course, Haley and I hadn't. So the thought was like, okay, here's all these individuals now, and we're like understanding like kind of like the patterns here. Like, oh, Max did this, this, and this to these people. So like, okay, this is a pattern. This wasn't just, oh, he didn't just harass Haley. You know, there was more people after Haley that he had issues with. Which is what really got Haley and I involved because, you know, there was, you know, some things that we did. We did the police reports. We had our, you know, we did what we could on our end with like the stalking and harassment, but there's very little the police can do unless he actually does something like crazy.
Right.
But after we moved to DC, we're like, okay, we're far away. He's largely left us alone. Like this isn't an issue. But then as soon as we found out it had been multiple people that he had allegedly done things with, we felt kind of like shitty and almost responsible because I feel like if we had done more back then, maybe he would have been held accountable, and then maybe Olivia and all these other people wouldn't have gone through whatever they say they've gone through.
Yeah. At that point, were you getting any interactions from MamaMax fans?
From MamaMax?
from MamaMax's fans, his fan base?
No, not me at all. I
So-
think Olivia and Paulina were, just because they had
Mhm.
already posted stuff.
Right. Because I was just trying to figure out, like, how did Max know that all of you guys were talking
Yeah,
to each
so
other?
that's what I was getting to with the
Yeah.
Badwick thing. So
Mhm.
I'd messaged Badwick and I was like, "Hey, I saw you did a video on this. Would you be interested in talking to all of these people who've had run-ins with them and kind of getting their side of the story?"
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure he blocked me first. He
Shit.
blocked me, and then he told Max.
Badwick
and
was the
Craig.
leak?
Yeah,
I didn't.
I've forgiven him since then. I don't think I've ever privately forgiven him, but yeah, he had blocked me. I might still have those messages, but yeah, he blocked me
No
and then
fucking
told
way.
Max and Craig because I got annoyed about it.
So
Because I actually asked him, I was like,
so
"Hey, can I have your discretion?" But
Yeah. You talked to him and was like, "Hey, stuff's happening. We would gladly like to hit you up and
Yeah.
tell our side of the story to you." And he just kind of was like, kind of weary of you and just decided to tell Max and Craig.
Yeah, because he had, from what I recall looking at his Twitter thing, I think he had made a video and was kind of like, looking at the allegations objectively. And then Craig and Max had that video. And then that Craig video had like convinced Badwick, I guess, that it was all bullshit.
Mhm.
So then Badwick was sort of like, kind of like on his apology arc with Max. And so I
Yeah.
think he felt like, oh, now I feel like a responsibility to like let Max know that this is happening.
Mhm.
So then, yeah, he told Craig or Max or both, because then after that, Craig messaged
I imagine.
me.
I imagine he told Craig. Craig told Max.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
but yeah, Craig, go ahead. Craig messaged you privately and said, "I think
Yeah,
I've seen these DMs
might have
before."
shown me screenshots, but yeah, he messaged me privately and he was like, "Hey, I want to get you on a call with Max, and here's a message from Max to you." And then he like sent me a message that was again from Max, and it was just like, "Hey, let's have a private conversation. We should talk about this so like I can explain everything and we can just keep this between us privately or something like that." I can find those messages if you want to show those on video or something so that I'm not misquoting anything.
I think I've seen them before. I think you're good. I think I know what you're talking about. The messages and
Right.
stuff. They're in
But then
Craig
he said
Beckett's
that,
video, right?
and then I was like, "Look, I wouldn't feel comfortable having a call without like an attorney present. I don't have one at the time, and honestly, I don't want to talk to you, Max." And then
Mhm.
Craig was like, "Well, if you really cared about this issue and you had nothing to hide, you would talk to Max." And I was like, well, "Okay, Craig, what the fuck ever, bro. I don't even know. Like, who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
So then from there, like again, I wasn't part of this community, so I didn't really know where else to go. No one else was doing Max videos. I had that issue with Badwick leaking that info, so I was like, "Fuck it, we'll try to put something together ourselves,
Mhm.
and it's going to be simple." And hindsight now, I know there was a lot of mistakes in that video and a lot of mistakes with the way the story was
Yeah.
told. But the initial goal was just like have the girls speak whatever they want to speak as their like speak their testimony, just no fucking flashy editing, nothing. They're just like telling their honest story about what they experienced. And like that's it. And if we have stuff to
Right.
show, we can show it.
Right. Well, yeah, and I've talked to you about that before. I feel no reason to like go on about that because we've talked about that in private and in public.
Of
And
course.
I feel like it's unfair to like criticize the girls when they're not here. So I'll just let that one stay there. But when it came to Craig Beckett, what was your first impression of the guy?
He was a am I allowed to curse in this? I think I already
Go
have.
for it.
But
Yeah.
he looked like a fucking he was not looked. He came across as a fucking arrogant douchebag, and he was obviously softballing questions to Max and just letting Max he had no pushback on Max whenever they were doing their whole little like trial of MamaMax video where he responded to shit.
Right.
There was a lot of things in that video that a lot of the girls wanted to respond to, that I wanted to respond to, and it was just like we were just very upset seeing that. I was like, what is this? Like, it was obvious, they're friends, and I get it, but like he could have not been more obvious in being like on Max's side than I don't think.
He came for your throats. He really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really went after the girls hard. And in fairness to Craig at that point, and I don't really want to give this guy credence because obviously the stuff that he's done after that, but at the same time, like there wasn't a lot out there yet. All we had was Instagram stories, and really no one was. The reason why Badwick got pressed so much in that situation is because none of the big YouTubers were covering it. And it wasn't really until your video with Edwin and all those guys where it started to get a little traction. But were you aware that that Craig kind of had a bit of a oopsie with Nicholas Diorio and Augie and got made fun of on live streams?
No, I didn't know anything about that.
That he completely just walked into a wall by trying to he tried to he tried to do something where oh Nick, why didn't you watch my video? Nick, why didn't you watch my video? I made a video on MamaMax and you're talking about MamaMax behind the scenes. I heard about that. Why didn't you watch my video, Nick? And then he just completely got destroyed on a live stream. Didn't even come on to argue his points or anything.
When was this?
This was probably right before your video came out.
Oh, okay.
Months. This is probably a few weeks after Beckett's video.
Gotcha. No, yeah, I had no idea about that.
So yeah, take solace in the fact that he was very much embarrassed during all that stuff happened.
Sure. Well, one thing that I want to say about Craig's video and something about the pushback thing was I think Max showed a Google Drive of hella screenshots and recordings and stuff. And my first thing I would have asked is who does that? Who keeps all of these things on all the people they're dating? What is that about? Why are you recording?
To YouTube.
I mean, yeah, I know that, but my thing thinking, I was why wouldn't you have asked him about that? Because Max likes to say, I think he said in his video that we cyber stalked him and we had all of these images ready to go and stuff. I'm no, I mean we have an old yearbook. I don't think that's stalking, having an old yearbook, and we have old phones with the pictures. It's not you were friends with Haley. You guys had pictures together on your old phone. It's not we had albums saved of you from years ago. You know what I mean? And
so
the rest
you're saying it's kind of a kind of a guilty mindset, I guess, right?
Right.
To record everything, yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't do that. If I had saved every fucking text message with Max, that would have been amazing for this. But no, I didn't, because I'm not a fucking freak.
Yeah.
Or paranoid or a YouTuber at that time.
Right. So Beckett puts out his video. You guys have your back and forths. They want to respond to that video. Is that what really started the ball with your video?
Yeah, I think so.
Forth?
I think that a lot, Olivia and Paulina especially, felt like they, didn't really get a fair shake. So they wanted to cohesively, more comprehensively, I guess, in a way, respond or have their story, their side told. Lucy had never done that, and Haley was okay, I'm really feeling I need to say something now because this is bigger than me.
Right.
And so that was the goal. Okay, they're just gonna say their stuff and whatever.
How did you think it went at first when the video came out?
Well, we were missing Paulina because she had a lot going on, and originally it was going to be everyone. Mm-hmm. But Paulina was still working on her, getting her story together in her timeline. She was dealing with a lot of, going through that was a lot of taxing for her. It was taxing for everybody. So I forgave her for that. So what we were going to do is release that video. And then we're okay, we know there's going to be questions and stuff. And as people have questions and there's things that come up, then we'll make a second video with Paulina's story, as well as the other girls addressing any of the questions and trying to clarify things or expand on more stuff. Because we were also waiting on things trying to see if we could subpoena text messages or get our comment history and stuff like that. I think Lucy was trying to reactivate a Twitter account. So there was a lot of other stuff that we were trying to get more info for. Mm-hmm. And then the whole shitstorm happened after the initial video that I think we were expecting a response, we were expecting pushback, but I don't think we were expecting the amount of harassment we got from his fans. And as much, again, not to talk for the girls, but that was a lot for them especially. So they very much were okay, let's just kind of chill for a second on this.
Right. When what was you've explained this before a couple times, but what was your reasoning for releasing Max's full name and on his driver's license? I think did you do the date of birth as well, or just the name?
Yeah, I think his date of birth and his first and last name, probably his middle name too. So in Craig's video, he said multiple times hey, or maybe just one time, he specifically said people can look me up. I've not done anything. I don't have any police reports on me or anything like that. And I know there's ways of finding somebody's original name and all that. But the issue is when you kind of look up his name, which at the time was Max, well, as everyone knew was Max Stryker, you wouldn't find anything. Unless you knew okay, there was a name change and you could identify then his name change document and his original name. So anticipating his response being oh, what the hell is this? Who's this Max, I'm Max Stryker. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck you. Here is proof that we all know you as this other Max, or we have had known you as this other Max. Kind of anticipating that. And of course, now I know that there's issues with doxing. Again, I'm not from this world, and I could have done that better. But I still think it was important context to show his name, because he would have said that's not my name, I feel like.
You
Beyond
think he would have
that,
done that? You think he would have done my name's
I
Max
think he would
Stryker?
have, especially with how big of a deal he made about people finding out his original name, saying like it threatened his safety and his whole family, and like, you doxed me. Granted, I found out after the fact all this was on Kiwi Farms, which he blames me for. It was in their way a long time ago, and I think the OP has since multiple times proved that it wasn't any of us that did that.
Right.
The OP of that Kiwi Farms. I think he would have tried to deny it, thinking that, again, if we did something, he would just strike it down or something like that. But I guess that's just speculation.
Yeah.
As for the birth date thing, part of that was to show, because part of Lucy's story, and I'm not going to criticize the way she framed it, but an important part of her story is that he lied about his age to her when they were talking. Like, when she was 17, he was saying he was 18, but in reality he was 21. And that's just kind of weird. Why lie about that? And then when they started dating after she was 18, then he was like, "Oh, I'm not really 18. I'm this age." So that was part of the reason of showing his birth date. Again, not getting into the fucking nitty gritty of how people feel about that age difference or how she framed it, but that was the point of that.
Right. So you take down the video because of privacy concerns, and then you re-upload it with it censored, and then the next day MamaMax uploads his own video. What was your reaction to that when you first saw that video? I think it was what was it called?
Believe all abusers.
Believe all abusers. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I was expecting a response, so I wasn't too surprised by that. But of course, I fast forwarded straight to Haley's segment, because I wanted to see that first.
Yeah.
And we watched it, and I don't remember where she was. She might have been at work, or she was listening to it in the car on her way home, and I was watching it in the living room. And while I was watching, I was reading the comments, and I was just saying, like, obviously everybody was on his side and just skewering us and saying all sorts of names and crazy shit. And then, I just felt like sick to my stomach seeing all the stuff he was saying, because, like, I was like, okay, he's not really like, there was some people can say like there wasn't proof about every claim that Haley made in her things, like, oh, he came uninvited to my sister's party. Of course, that's a he said, she said.
Yeah.
But like something like glossing over the police reports, like he showed the police reports completely blurred on the screen and just said, these kind of look real, but I have no idea. And then he skipped past it. Like, come on, dude. And then of course his fans aren't going to read them or anything. So like shit like that was pissing me off. And I was like, okay, great. These are something, he's giving us things that we can respond to. Because again, the point was to have a second video with some responses and then Paulina's story. It was weird that he responded to Paulina, I think, and weird that he brought up that Sarah girl when they weren't even in the initial video that we did.
But I think he was trying to get ahead of it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Of course, he was trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was
did he gay op her as well? Because there was like a screenshot of her talking to somebody. I don't know how that screenshot would have got leaked unless she was talking to someone in MamaMax's camp.
Did he do what?
You don't know what a gay op is, huh?
I do. Sorry. Yeah. But I didn't hear what
did he gay op her?
Who?
Sarah? Because there was a screenshot between someone and Sarah, where Sarah's trying to tell her story or something to this person, and then he puts that screenshot on the video, I think. And there's no way he could have got that screenshot unless the person that she's talking to is on his side. Did you ever see that part?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember it, honestly.
No, that's fair.
We did try to talk to Sarah, but there was like a collective like 5 messages between us or between me and her over like that entire year, which is why she wasn't in our video.
Right.
And why also I don't say anything about her, because the things he claimed or alleged she did, again, like really shitty and serious if she did them, but I don't know anything about her, and I don't care to talk about her. You know what I mean?
That's fair enough. Yeah. I was always curious about that screenshot.
No, I'll take a look at that, because now I'm interested, because I don't remember that.
Well, I was just always my reasoning for asking that question wasn't necessarily to talk about Sarah, but to talk about the fact that were there ever people trying to, like, you were interacting with, that you ever wondered, like, is this one of Max's people maybe, or is this could be like a
not until after our video came out, because then that's when we got a lot of like anonymous calls and fucking random like new fake accounts and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
contacting us.
Right. So you watch the video, and then you get to the end. You get to your part, and then he calls you a pedophile. Now, I wanted to talk to you about something. Where you, Haley mentions that Max was talking about these accusations. She mentions that in her video. So you were aware of these, right?
Yeah, and so this would have been beginning. When was the primary? I was working for a candidate at the time that I talked to about this because I was afraid like Max would like post stuff about it and he'd have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So this was, I think, the beginning of 2018 or maybe the end of 2017. Because I was working, I was a campaign manager for a primary. It would have been 2017 for a primary election. So like, yeah, so what happened was I created a really lame, fucking shitty, cringy, like happy birthday, fucking, what is it? Like a slideshow with music for Haley for one birthday. It might have been anniversary. I don't remember. And I posted it like on just like my personal, whatever the fucking Gmail was tied to, like, or whatever YouTube account was tied to my Gmail.
Right.
And I posted it and like, I guess it was public, and I shared it on Facebook and like tagged Haley and stuff. But then like a few weeks later, or maybe a few months later, like comments started appearing on there from just like all these random like middle-aged like Karen-looking women saying like, oh, so this is the Anthony that likes to send his dick to my niece, or like, oh, this is the Anthony that likes little girls, like just random comments like that. And I was just like, what the fuck is this?
What year was this again?
It would have been either 2017 or end of 2017 or beginning of 2018.
Okay.
I want to say 2017 because I think I was working with that candidate and then I had just started FEMA.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2017 or very early 2018.
Right.
And so yeah, I started seeing those comments on that YouTube. I've tried to go back to view that with my normal Gmail, but it might have been an old email or something because I can't find that video. But yeah, so then I saw those comments, and then there was just like a few weeks later, and I got a text, saying he was Max, and he was like, I assumed it was Max. I don't know if he ever said like, he didn't say, hi, this is Max, but he said it was Max later on. And it was basically like, hey, I know who you are, and I know what you've done. You've preyed on people, and I have the evidence to prove it. If anything ever happens to me, I've arranged for the evidence to be released. I know how you people are. And my assumption of what he means by that is, by people are, I think he means like political people. Maybe he thought I was gonna like have him assassinated or something because I was fucking an intern or something for a fucking campaign. And I texted back, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or are these messages related or something like that? And I don't recall. It's possible he did, but I don't recall any responses to that. And I never heard anything since then. One of the comments actually did mention a name of a person that I do know, that I was friends with in high school. I don't know if it's the same person, if it's just coincidence that name was used, but I don't think it is, because that person I found out later on, like in 2022, that person is best friends with his sister, who's also the one witness he has, which is interesting.
Right.
So he said that name. He's like, I know you are a predator, and I know you prey on people and did this and that. Have the evidence released, blah, blah, blah.
By the way, this is Simpleton joining us. So, Simpleton, you've been a pretty staunch MamaMax detractor for the past year and a half. You were kind of like you're the only one who kind of like picked up the torch and kind of ran with it after everybody kind of settled down.
Edwin.
Yeah, after Edwin. We'll get to that in a second.
Other than Tommy, of course. I mean, Tommy remained full of hatred for Max, of course, which I, admire. But yeah, I saw.
All right. Finishing.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick, just for anybody who doesn't know, like I watched Believe All Abusers, which is the thing that he did against the exes once they came out, and from there I just started investigating, because I actually started out as a fan of Max, so I kind of have done the full cycle or whatever.
Right. Yeah, you've seen the whole thing go. You've made 2 videos, right? And you've kind of been you become a detractor. You were a big fan, and you would say the Abusers video would be the one that kind of like turned you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't even call myself a huge fan, just because of the fact like some of his bigger fans were just absolute psychopaths that would do so much stuff for him. Like I was a casual watcher and
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching his stuff, but like I never went as far as I never paid for the Patreon until I started looking into him. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. All right. I'm gonna get like a full statement from you in a bit. Something I just want to finish talking with Magnetar here about his situation with the MamaMax comments he was getting on his video, in which did you get confronted by Max himself at that point, Magnetar?
After those comments on that birthday YouTube video, is that what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
Yeah, it was just those text messages that he had sent me where he was basically saying, like, I know you're a predator. I know you sent a dick pic to this person. I have the evidence to prove it. If you ever do anything to me, I'll have the evidence released.
Right.
Other than that, there was nothing ever from that. But that scared me enough. I was like, what the fuck is this? And because, like, while I wasn't, like, big in the political world, I just know shit like that, even if it's, just allegations or fake or anything like that, it could fucking be a huge issue for people, especially if you're like running for office or something like that.
Yeah.
So at the time I had ended up, I told Haley, I was like, hey, what the fuck? This is what Max is saying. And then I like even had a meeting with the candidate I was working for at the time. And like, hey, here's this situation. This guy from high school who's like kind of like been an ongoing issue. He said this about me the other day. So if you ever see anything about that, like,
Yeah.
sorry.
For the record, you deny any of these allegations, correct?
Of course.
Yeah. So when that video came out, and like take me through like the kind of harassment you were getting IRL due to that video.
Yeah, and I posted some of the screenshots. Of course, I didn't save every single one. But like beyond the comments on my video, which of course could ranged from like you're a joke to fucking, you people should kill yourself kind of things. There's a lot of private DMs and even like phone calls to both my work number, but also my personal number and Haley's personal number, in which we were just like, blocking them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There were emails sent to me, both my work and personal email. There was emails and phone calls to my job at the time because people even in my chat on my video were posting like where I was working, and like contact information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So people had emailed like everybody on my staff list. So like everyone from my executive director to fucking interns, and it was like, hey, this guy's a pedophile, and like linked the Believe All Abusers video and was like, you need to fire this guy. We're going to go to the press, like all sorts of shit. There were a few tweets directed towards my organization as well. But I think there's only like 2 or 3. There were nothing like major. The most, egregious things were, I think, the things to my work and like messages to like some friends and stuff on Facebook and like connections on LinkedIn.
Right.
But then there was like a few people who were going a little bit more than just like, hey, this guy's a pedophile, you're a piece of shit, that were saying like, oh, we're gonna fucking like kill you. Like, hey, I live in the DC area. I know where your business is. Hey, I'm outside your office. Here's a picture of it. Good luck, kind of shit. Like, we're keeping an eye out for
terrifying. Yeah, that's fucking weird.
That one about my business, you did lead to Haley and I calling the cops, and basically the cops said like, look, you can report, those messages to like the FBI tip line, which we did end up doing and didn't hear anything back.
Right.
But like other than that, there's nothing we can really do. He didn't come to your house, and like we can't just like sit outside of a office building forever. So like unfortunately, unless you see somebody, you can call us then.
Yeah. How long did this go for?
It went for months. I mean, I would say it was. I mean, the bulk of it lasted until like maybe the end of the year. So from like July through fucking December, right around when I started talking to my attorney, because I was still getting pictures for him as well. So yeah, I mean, it lasted months, and then I mean, like just until recently, I was still getting comments on that video of people saying like, "Oh, you guys are pieces of shit." But like I assume the more fanatical people lost interest and moved on.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it took a lot on us mentally, and it was scary because like I didn't expect that many, like that kind of backlash, and also like I didn't know what these people were capable of, because I knew like the violent nature of Max's videos and like the things he said people had like done for him. Like, oh, we beat up pedophiles, and like when they says like, oh, find me evidence on Anthony, and like have like a whole like email for me to like for people to send evidence and stuff. I'm like, what's going on? What's gonna happen? So like, yeah, we got therapists.
So,
we got the cops. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. That's so tragic that you had to go through all that. I'm so sorry that you had to endure all that. That's just it's disgusting. That these fans who went after Tommy C as well would stoop so low to attack you like this without any sort of concrete proof of what you are.
Yeah.
And it's I'm glad you're vindicated now, right? But I wanted to point the direction over towards Edwin. What's your opinion on the Edwin situation now? And we don't have to go too far into it. I don't want to go super in depth. I know you don't. But what's your opinion on the Edwin stuff now?
So Edwin was, somebody who reached out to me. I think he reached out to me. It's very possible I reached out to him, seeing that he kind of like sort of covered the Max thing after the allegation video came out.
Yeah.
Regardless, we got in touch, and he really seemed like somebody who had some following that was going to be able to let us tell our story like we were wanting to originally. Someone with some production value behind him who kind of like knew how to handle these things, like knew how to ask the right questions, knew how to like keep us from like not like going off into like random shit that we didn't need to talk about.
Yeah.
And present it in like a coherent way, what we should have done with that first video. And so we were all really excited about that. We had a number of conversations with I had two or three private conversations with him, telling him my stuff. I know he talked to like Olivia and I think Haley. He had people on streams a few times, but he was supposed to be working on like a really big video to like comprehensively go through everything as well as go through Max's response. And I know he talked to Max maybe one or two times as well.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knows how that ended up. Not to say a lot about it, but I know like the schedule just kept getting pushed back, and then like the Deaf Noodles fucking salvo shit happened, and then like
Right.
we were all really annoyed because we're like, again, we're not part of this community. We're like, who gives a fuck about Deaf Noodles? I'm tired of hearing about this guy. Can we talk about the serious shit? And so like months pass, and it's all like on that, and then eventually, Olivia and Edwin have their stupid fucking whatever the hell was going on, and of course that killed all his credibility with the story and his impartiality and stuff like that. So it was just dead at that point.
Right. Let's see here. So that goes away, and then you're kind of left kind of without anyone publicly in that situation until MamaMax himself fucks everything up. What was your impression when MamaMax really started to make videos about this Camden guy? Did you start to see like, wait, could this be it? Is he actually fucking up? And now's our chance to really tell our side of the story? Or did you think it would just be another situation where, oh, it's going to get, everybody's going to love Max for this, and everybody's going to cheer Max, and we're just going to go back to, being where we are right now?
So I didn't really start paying attention until he had the live stream. I think it was the 8-hour, like the infamous live stream where everyone yelled at him, like Xylee and Lyrics, because the only reason I tuned in was because somebody, I made contacts with a lot of people during like the initial allegation video. So people like kept tabs on Max and would like, hey, he just mentioned you in this live stream. So I opened it to see, oh shit, I just knocked my mic down. Yeah. So I opened it to see what it was, and it was him saying like 6 times in a row that I'm a pedophile. And then that Spencer said she had seen me sneak into school or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So then I heard that, and I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, shit, like this is, here we go again. Like it's going to be all this whole thing again. So that was my initial feelings. And then I tuned into the Lyric stream, and I heard all of the pushback he was getting. I saw that there wasn't a lot of like support for him in the comments. And like when he said that thing about me, like I don't think there was a single comment saying like, oh yeah, Magnetar, fuck that guy. There was like nothing about it. It was just glossed over. So I felt good about that. I was like, okay, good. Like hopefully this isn't starting a whole new, can of worms. Right. But then from there, I started really paying attention to everything that was going on and the whole God cult shit and what everyone was saying. And I was like, okay, he's really fucking up here. And, like, I didn't think it was going to turn into anything big like this. I thought like, okay, people are going to criticize him and he's just going to put out another video and then it'll go back to normal. Mm-hmm. But the more I saw and the more streams he did, the more of a hole he dug. Yeah. And the more his true colors came out. And a lot of the things he's been admitting, I think, go along in the way that I was trying to show with our initial video was that he's got a pattern of a lot of things. One of them is dishonesty and just being manipulation, and like that's what we were trying to show initially. And I think all of what's happened since then has shown that even more so now.
Yeah, it was almost like no matter how hard you tried, Magnetar or the girls, you couldn't really get people to see his true colors, except for maybe someone like Tommy C or Lyrics. But at some point, he did it for you. You know, he handed you the gift, and it wasn't your actions that took him down; it was his own. Which obviously, obviously, I get like you would want to be able to put your story out there, but I think it's better that he did it to himself. You know.
I agree.
And now you're completely. I don't know if you feel vindicated, but within the public's eyes, I would say you are definitely vindicated at this point. So, do you feel vindicated at all?
So, I feel vindicated in the sense of like, I guess the wider internet, like the public, like in terms of the allegations against me. But an issue that I have, and that a lot of people say that I need to not think so much and like put it all on me, is that in a lot of ways I felt or feel responsible, or like I'm carrying the torch for not just all the girls now, but sort of like everything Max has done since fucking 2014.
Right.
So I still feel kind of like a full justice hasn't really been done. And I don't think it ever will be, so I think I just have to get over that. But in terms of like, I guess the specific allegations against me, I do feel some sense of vindication, because there's no evidence. He's lost all credibility now, and I think the people are sort of like woken up to his shtick now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Simpleton, I wanted to bring you in real quick. Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. If you would for me real quick, just give your like because you've been there. You made a video last year. You made a video this year. All the tower of MamaMax has fallen down. If you wanted to give like one overall statement about the situation, you're allowed to do it like right now if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that my biggest takeaway, just an overall takeaway from all of this, the biggest resounding thing that I've learned is that MamaMax has never, will never, etc. care about CSA survivors, and they are truly just a means to an end to his Michael Bay sexploitation film career.
Yeah. That's a good description. Michael Bay He's not even Martin Scorsese. He's fucking Michael Bay, bro. Like it's not like
Or
you
one
can't
of
even
like
use
the
Tarantino. He's got to be fucking
Bruce Brothers or whatever the fuck they're called, like the Marvel people.
Yeah. I don't even think Max is a fan of movies, bro. You ever notice that? Like all he does is he references Marvel movies and fucking Hotline Miami.
To be fair, in Prey, and I only know this because I'm like an autistic Max observer, but he did reference Alien and The Matrix.
Oh, good for him.
Right? So he
oh wow, another one of the fucking
right?
Wow.
In the
yeah,
top
totally
50 best Sigma male movies, dude.
Right.
Yeah. What's his other favorite movie? Dark Knight?
Fucking Fight Club, bro.
Yeah.
Don't forget about American Psycho.
I like Boondock Saints, guys.
Oh yeah.
Joker.
Oh shit, yeah. He's not a fucking filmmaker, bro. He's just a fucking YouTuber and he sucks at it. He's good. His editing's cool, his visuals are cool, but they're redundant, and the quality of the content, like it's weird. And it's sad that it took this long for people to see how much he missed the mark in these situations. Because if he would have stuck to doing the whole Nexpo, like, ooh, spooky, scary internet video game stories, he'd been perfectly fine. But now he's doing like these pedophile hunter things, and it's just like completely and utterly ridiculous. But Simpleton, I want to appreciate you for coming on, man. You were a huge part of helping me out with research as well as Magnetar. And I just wanted to thank you, sir. You've been very helpful to all of us, to Lyrics, to me, to anyone else in the MamaMax like sphere that were making videos. So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, look, here's my thing. I definitely just the Max thing for me was personal, and I, you put my head in like a little too far the first time. And it was really valuable for me to take a break because I could come back and really just be helpful to people like you and people like Lyrics and just show them the stuff that I had accumulated. But like I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to just continuing to be helpful in any way I can, not just with Max, but other stuff too, because I do have my toes in quite a few other things.
Right. You are autistic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
and Simpleton, I know we've talked. I was going to
Go
say, I
ahead.
know I've said this privately, but yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, thank you for all the support you've done and shown me and others privately and publicly. And
Yeah.
I am excited to see what else you create that's not, stuck on this Max shit. Because I know
Well,
it's a lot for everyone emotionally, especially when you start digging into a lot of his history.
it was genuinely my pleasure, and it was my pleasure a year ago when like barely anybody agreed with us, and it's my pleasure now that everything is flipped a year later. And I mean, I'm coming out with one more Max video because the only thing that I've kind of seen missing from the conversation is, and this is a lot less serious, and that's kind of why I'm wanting to make it, but it's just kind of the painful dramatic irony of him using Hotline Miami. People have kind of danced on it a little bit, but it's one of my favorite games on earth, and so I want to make a little love letter to it and just show how stupid it is that Max uses it as advocating violence.
Well,
Right.
I wish you luck in that, Simpleton. I greatly appreciate it, man. I hope your videos do well in the algorithm, and I hope because you really got the word out there from what I saw. It was like you, Tommy, I mean a few others that were really harping on how shitty of a person Max is. So thank you again. Magnetar, I wanted to ask you, what's your plans now?
I know one thing a lot of people are asking and saying and suggesting is that I take possible legal action against Max, and it's no secret that I have consulted with an attorney. I showed some of the emails between my attorney and the MamaMax legal team, and I haven't made a final decision on what's going to happen there. I talked to my attorney actually today, so I will have some news. Maybe, but I don't know when this is coming out, but I might have some news about some stuff, in the next coming days. But there's a lot of things that need to happen. A lawsuit is not an easy thing, and it's not a cheap thing. And the reason I stopped the process half a year ago was because I was, things mostly died down, and I was out of money. But now things are a little bit different, both a little bit financially, but more so, a lot more has come out, and Max has said a lot more shit that do not make him look good, especially from that phone call with Nick and Muda. Specifically, things he said about his allegations against me,
Right.
which I think would bolster my case. I'm just trying to decide if it's a responsible financial move to make, and if the costs or if the benefits outweigh the cost in a way. The thing I said earlier about me feeling like I owe everybody holding Max accountable is something I'm also weighing on. Like, I feel like this might be a way to hold him accountable for all the shit he's ever done to anybody.
Yeah.
Almost like a proxy. And so I do feel some responsibility.
Right. Well, I want to ask you, but outside of that, right? Outside of MamaMax, what are your plans, YouTube wise, fucking life wise? What's your plans for that?
YouTube, I never stopped YouTube. I stopped for maybe a month or 2 months after the Max thing, just because of all the harassment comments and stuff like that. A lot of my collaborations fell through. People I was working with, I'm not gonna get involved in this, so we're not gonna talk to you. My plans are to just keep making videos on YouTube, keep sharing the stories that I love, getting more stories written. I do want to work with a lot more people because I feel like it's a lot of people. I also said like, hey, I don't want to collab because I don't want you to get harassed for working with me because some of my writers got messaged. So like, I feel now safe to bring more people in on the work that I'm doing. So yeah, that's what I hope to do with YouTube, and then just my personal stuff. I'm just doing my day job stuff and trying to live my life.
Is there anything we missed during this interview that you wanted to talk about that I didn't get to or I looked over? Anything at all?
I don't know if there's anything necessarily that was missed, but there's a few things that I'd like to highlight, if that's okay.
Absolutely, go for it.
So one thing that I think points to, and the reason I thought about this is Simpleton saying how Max uses CSA victims for his own means, is that this allegation Max made to me, as I said, happened in like 2017, maybe early 2018, where he claims he had evidence of this. He stated he had evidence about it again, but albeit quote unquote not enough evidence in 2022. The emails with my attorney, he reiterated they had an abundance of evidence and that he'd release it on June 1st if we didn't comply. That's what, 17 to 20, I don't know how many fucking years that is already of him saying he knows about it. This is the predator hunter guy. This is the guy who cares about kids, who protects people. And he's talking about me, somebody who allegedly victimized a close family friend of his. And he was willing to use the evidence against me as a negotiating tactic for me to remove his video.
Yeah.
Or to remove my video about him. I feel like that alone should show the kind of person he is and like in what he thinks about victims and what he truly feels about like the predator hunting and the work he does. Because he didn't give a fuck that I had allegedly victimized someone he cared about. He just didn't want me talking about the shit that we think he did or that we say that he did.
Right.
To make people think differently of him. He wanted to protect his ego and his image. And I think that's an important piece that everybody should remember about this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you 100% there. I did want to say something real quick, and I think I've talked to you about this privately, but I do want to apologize to you personally. I'm not really a journalist. I'm not really a big YouTuber, but I was kind of there with Edwin when we were covering the story. I was in the live streams, and I heard some of your side of the story. And when the video came out, and then the whole thing with Edwin stuff happened in October or whatever, I just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of floundered with the whole subject because I'm never comfortable. I'm in the same boat as Nicholas Diorio. I'm never comfortable directly covering assault allegations. And plus, MamaMax is a terrifying fucking YouTuber.
No, I get that.
I mean, look, he called you a pedophile with no evidence. The dude's fucking out of his mind, and I was kind of like, I didn't want to wake up the fucking psychotic beast that he is. But I think I should have spoke out a little more than I did, and I didn't. But and I apologize to you for that because I feel like you should have had some sort of platform to tell your side of the story, and it sucks that it's happening now, but at least it's happening, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can respond to that just for a second, like,
sure.
I appreciate that really that does mean a lot, and I'm not looking for an apology from everyone or anyone necessarily. It's obviously nice to hear, but I don't blame people for not wanting to touch that situation because I understand what people thought of Max in this community, especially after what happened to Tommy for saying any little criticism about Max.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anyone for that. I don't blame people because I know Max is convincing and manipulative, and I know he plays to people's in regards to his fans. He plays to that demographic of people, and I don't think I hold any. I've a lot of people that were like some of his biggest fans that were in like his fan Discord and his Reddit mods have reached out to me and the girls privately as well and apologized and stuff like that too. And like, I don't hold any ill will against any of them either. I mean, I do hold ill will against the guy who sent pictures and said he was gonna fucking like kill us outside our business. But yeah, this is not anyone's fault but Max's, and I think he holds responsibility for it.
Right. Well, Magnetar, I appreciate you accepting my apology. I did make a couple jokes because I'm a worst case scenario kind of guy, and I made a couple jokes like, look, if I bring him on, and then I guarantee you the next day he's gonna be a pedophile, like he's gonna be exposed.
Dude, A story I have, if I can, you can cut this out if you need to, but
No, go for
literally
it.
like an hour after Max's video, a friend of mine in one of our group chats changed my nickname to pedophile. So like,
I was like,
the,
look, it's just my luck that I interview the guy and I tell a side of the story, and then MamaMax is like, well, here's the DMs and here's his dick, and I'm like, all right, cool, fucking great.
yeah.
But yeah, no. Look, you seem like a really cool guy. I've enjoyed our interactions, and I hope you stick around the community. And I wish you luck on your YouTube channel. I can't wait to hear you read more creepy stories. I guess I don't know. I haven't really watched your videos. If I'm being honest with you.
Dude, you're fine.
Simpleton, I can't wait to see your next video, man. If you guys want to shout yourselves out real quick, go for it.
Yeah, you first, Magnetar.
I don't know. I wasn't really thinking of shouting myself out.
All right, I'll do it. Check out Magnetar
Okay.
on YouTube, youtube.com/Magnetar.
Magnetar YT.
Magnetar YT. You got like 30,000 subscribers, I think. He reads creepy stories. Go check him out. If you're into that type of stuff, you can also follow him on Twitter at Magnetar YT as well. Or
Yes, sir.
and he tweets some interesting things and stuff. Now with the MamaMax stuff dying down, I will say he seems like a genuinely cool guy. So if you're thinking like, well, the MamaMax stuff is dead, I don't really want to follow anymore because it's just dead. It's a dead topic. No, check him out. See what he's like. I think you'll enjoy him. Simpleton, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so my channel, recently I had to change the and change my branding a little bit because I found out that there is a 7K sub channel that's about analytics called Simpleton. And so I'm now Himpleton because I'm him. So haha, there you go. I'm working on it.
Nice.
We'll figure it out. Either way, yeah, my
What about
ad is
Mama Him?
Mama.
Mama Him.
See, I'm taking suggestions, and I like that. That's going in the bucket. That's going in the bucket, Matt.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
but right now I'm at Himpleton. I am on Twitter at simple_ton 2 underscores, and yeah, I'm definitely in for more than just Max stuff. This last video I'm making will be about the Max stuff, but then I am moving on to the Ian and Anissa therapy podcast, aka She Ruined My Career. I'm going to be doing some live watching of that and just having fun, just screwing around. And yeah, I'm going to be around. So check me out if you want.
Base. All right, awesome. Guys, I'm going to let you go here and read the Bad with Monies, but thank you again for coming on, and I greatly appreciate it, and I will keep in touch on when the podcast comes out.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Have a
Thanks
good one,
for
guys.
having me.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. All right. So, holy shit, this was a stressful day. Guys, you have no idea how stressful this day was. I don't know why it was, but my God, was it stressful. Fucking, I had a bad day, and it's all my fault. I had a really bad day. And Mitch and I were doing the podcast, and I'm telling him about MamaMax, and I hit a wall. I hit a fucking wall. I don't know how Lyrics is doing this. I don't know how Lyrics is doing this at all with each MamaMax update. I can't talk about the guy anymore. Like it was like with Magnetar, it's great to hear his side of the story and all of that. But when it came to like giving the details of the story to Mitch, and then Mitch is just like, yeah, because he doesn't know what's going on. Like the poor guy is just trying to interact, and he's on mobile. He was on mobile for some fucking reason, and and I couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, fuck. So no, seriously, I want to thank Magnetar and Simpleton for coming on because I was kind of floundering a bit, and I've had a rough couple of days on now recording. I tell you what. But yeah, no, I think this was a cool little interview. I kind of wanted to get his side of the story, and I always was kind of weary because now recording's a comedy podcast, and you don't want to bring on these girls and then they're telling their side of the story, and then you're like, oh, you pull a rice gum or something trying to make a joke and it just doesn't sit right, or something like that. And Beavers is going to make a joke, or Mitch, or Core might make a joke, or Toxic might make a joke, or I might make a joke, and I don't want to offend the women in this situation, even though I've kind of I've offended one for sure if they've seen FPS Diesel's video. But no, in all seriousness, I'm glad that everyone gets vindicated. I'm glad that MamaMax is seen as just another YouTuber. He's always been just another YouTuber. He's very manipulative, and he has done things underneath the surface that are not very good. And yeah, well, what's next for MamaMax? I don't know. Nicholas DiOrio's thing is coming out. There's a live stream being planned. There's a couple other things, but at the same time, it's like, what else is there to talk about until Max himself comes out with some sort of reply or comes out with his great documentary on the African American werewolf pedophile from Georgia? I don't know. I don't know what else is next for MamaMax, but keep watching for more content. Make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And you know, the thing about MamaMax is he had such a lucrative career. I mean, you're talking about 700,000 subscribers at one point. You're talking about a Patreon that was giving him $13,000 a month, allegedly. I mean, you're talking about a lot of money in this situation. And I really hope he invested, and I really hope he saved up, because if he did not do that, if he did not invest or save up, he would be bad with money. Those who are also bad with money: Ghosty, I hate you, you're a retard, Stefan Corbino, The Gaming Witch, K-Huck 1013, Pigeon Salad, Ringtail, The Gadget Guy, Echo Tragedy, Brooke A, Everborn, Strictly Patrick, Fresh Brewski, Jacob Thomas, Reynolds Hughes, and Mame. If you want to be bad with money, you can pay $14.99 a month. Get your name set after every episode of Now Recording and every live stream of Now Recording. And if you can't afford that, because who can these days? And you might be also MamaMax can't even afford that these days. $10.99 a month gets you Beaver Lovers. That gets you early access to Now Recording podcast episodes when they come out. Also gets you into priority calls when we do a live stream and you're like, I got something to say. I want to say it now. I want to be pulled up now. Head into priority calls. You'll be the first to be pulled up when we take callers. Can't afford that. The usual, the double cheeseburger of the Now Recording memberships is the Stumpies, which is $4.99 a month. And that gets you access to Now Recording membership live streams and special Now Recording membership episodes. That also gets you into the paywall version of the Discord server. We do have a free text channel, but the thing about this free text channel is it could go away tomorrow if we made the decision. So if you want to stick around and be behind the paywall and get some kind of exclusive interactions with us and our co-hosts, then that's what I think you should do. Also, you don't have to give us any money. We've been very thankful for you guys and what you guys have done for us on Now Recording. We're at I think we're at 2,300 subscribers. I think. Let me check real quick. Dashboard, 2,234 subscribers, and it's been great to see you guys, see everybody grow. I love being with these guys. I love Beavers. I love Core. I love Mitch. I love Toxic. I still love D-Max, even though he broke my heart and he left me. Motherfucker, I hate him. No, I love him. I hate him. No, he's a ghost. No, but it's been a lot of fun with these guys, and I've been having a lot of fun. This Max stuff has been a lot of fun. I just kind of hit a wall with it. Shout out to Lyrics for his 2,000 concurrent viewers, man. He's been doing a lot of good shit on his live streams. He's really milking the fuck out of it, and it kind of annoys me at times, but at the same time, if I was in his shoes, I would do the same. Also, if I was in his shoes, I would have 2 legs, and that would be really cool. And I'd have a really cool haircut as well. That would be awesome. Shout out to Nicholas DiOrio, who he's kind of the guy who really got the ball rolling with the MamaMax stuff. And he's kind of back. He's back. Nick is back, Jack. You know, Nick is doing his thing, and that's a really cool thing to see with Nick. Putting out a video, having another video planned, and there's a crazy live stream being planned. Shout out to Muda. I'm going to echo Tommy's point here. Tommy asked Muda to look into the MamaMax stuff on Shot from the Point. And Muda said he's plans on looking into it as soon as he's done with the completion of stuff. And he kept his word, and he did what he had to do. And and it's got to be very hard to really go after. I don't know how close of friends they were, but they were definitely cordial, and they definitely hung out with each other IRL. So that's got to be a hard thing to do. The easier thing to do is try to protect him. He didn't do it. And he a lot of people were giving him Mudahar a lot of shit for not being, for like, sweeping up for MamaMax, but at the same time, he kept to his word. He admitted faults, and he conceded to a lot of stuff. And that's the cool thing about Mudahar, is when he is wrong, he will let you know. Who else? Let's see. Who else is a bit? Xylee Gets Real. Shout out to Xylee for her shit talking MamaMax. That was all me. I did that. And she actually had a actual good moment on stream for once in her life, and that's great to hear and that's great to see. I know she was capable of it and she did it, so good for her. Who else? FPS Diesel, thanks for hiring me as your scriptwriter, buddy. That was cool. He did a good job on his video. Might be a part 2. I don't know yet. Still trying to figure that out. And what else is there? What else is there to talk about with this MamaMax stuff? I think that's it. I think that oh, no. Let me shout out to Simpleton. Shout out to Maximus Platypus. Shout out to Seven. I think those are the 3. Shout out to DJ Screwdriver. Shout out to Smaggle Daggle. Unseen. And I think that's it. Shout out to all those guys, because they've been doing a lot of the work behind the scenes, helping with research and stuff. And it's been really cool to see all that come around. And it's very hard to establish a timeline sometimes. And it's good to like these people have this stuff organized, you know. Shout out to the MamaMax former Reddit. Those guys have been very good as well with their summarizations and their timelines, and they've been a lot of help to a lot of us YouTubers. Anyways, at this point, for right now, at the very least, we will be closing the book on MamaMax. Maybe we'll open it again eventually to make fun of him. I don't know yet, but as of right now, the book is closed. It might be opened again soon. I don't know. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening. And now recording is always recording. Have a great one, guys.